Hey everybody, Sean. This is part of my seat layout series, the building a model railroad from start to finish on a budget. So, we've already gone over picking out your railroad, choosing your operating system a little bit. We talked about DCC a little bit. We got the loop of track up, just a basic oval, and we covered a couple other things. Now, this time I want to go a little bit more in depth with going on with DCC and with putting in your first siding or spur, and talking about your industries. So let's talk about the spur first a little bit. You're going to go out and you're going to buy a switch, you're going to buy some extra track, and you're going to put it in, and you may find, especially with the sectional track like this, it doesn't quite fit. The way Cato does it is they've got their switches like this, which have other sections they have to go in, and it's an odd size. If you go with Cato Unitrack, you're going to find out that you're going to have to buy a lot of little pieces to help fit around the corners and stuff. Now, you can finagle it a little bit and let the corners bend out a little bit more and have little kinks, but if you want to do it professionally, you want to do it right, you want to do it so you don't have any problems down the road, you can buy the switch in a bunch of little pieces, or buy two switches. Odds are you're going to have another industry, you're going to do something else. You can either put them both like this and have one going the other way, or however you want it. The way I have it on here is I have a switch over here and a switch on the other side. Later on, I'll put another industry over here, and I'll get to that a little bit later. So, let's say you've got your switch, you've got your track, you've got it laid out on your layout. Next, you've got to pick your industries. What do you want to operate on your layout? Do you want a brewery? Do you want a meat packing plant? Do you want a lumber yard? Do you want a grain facility? Do you want a transloading facility? Do you want some just manufacturing place or an auto distributor? Whatever you want. It's your layout. Pick what you want. But try to keep it something affordable. If you do, let's say a grain elevator, some of the kits can get kind of pricey. That's where something like this comes in handy. Standins. Yeah, I know it's also a beer bottle and it's my favorite beer, but that's beside the point. This is a stand-in, and a great stand-in. You can use other things too, and that you can even make in the grain bins. You can use PVC pipe. You can use wooden or cardboard tubes. You can use all kinds of stuff. Look for something cylindrical and smooth, something that, if anything, you can sand it down a little bit and paint it. Now, these I'm not going to paint because this is a Spotted Cow microbrewery. This is what this is supposed to be. It's my representation of it. And that's all yours has to be, is a representation. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be to the prototype. It doesn't have to be anything special. It's yours. Do it how you want. If you want prototype with, nitpicking details, awesome. Do that. People love detail. They like realism. Some of us, we don't care. It's nice. It's cool. I give people tons of credit for going above and beyond when building their models, but I'm not that picky. As you can see, I'm very happy with the way this is, and with the layout I'm going to build next. I'm going to be like a rivet counter. I'm not going to be as technical, but I'm going to have all the grass in the tracks. I'm going to have dirt over everything. I'm going to have grease and oil stains. I'm going to have the whole 9 yards. But say you've got your industry picked out. Now where are you going to put it? If you're like me, I wanted a little extra section here for two industries. So you can have a little bit here and a little bit here. Now you got to make sure you have room on your spur or siding to put your industry in. You don't want to have a little blip that comes out and back in. You're not going to be able to fit a whole lot. You can do it if you want. I can't stop you. But you'll probably enjoy it more if you give it a little bit more space. Not to mention, I don't see too many industries that are just jammed and crammed full of cars. There are a few out there, but I like to save that for the busy season. And on my layout, the busy season is this would just be full with four freight cars, 5 if I didn't have the longer PCF beer car in there. But before you go on, I want to tell you a little bit about these industries on my siding, so maybe you can get a couple ideas, or at least a feel for how I approach this. So first, obviously, this is a microbrewery. I've got trucks coming in and out delivering wheat and barley or whatever, all the stuff you need to do beer. We've got carloads of stuff coming in for hops and whatnot. And we've got boxcars in here for loading and unloading packaging, pallets, supplies. And then for loading beer, obviously, that's a PCF beer car from Exact Rail. I've got two, hopefully a couple more on the way here soon. And that's for loading up the beer and getting it out. I'll have other boxes in another industry on my layout later on that'll actually build the boxes, the crates, and other packaging materials necessary to facilitate this facility. Now, another thing I like cars and trucks. I'm a big collector. I've had 43 cars so far in my life, and I'm only 24 years old. I've had imports, hot rods, muscle, mud trucks, rally cars, race cars, dragsters, and I've had so many brands I couldn't even remember them all right now. But so I've got two different industries here now. Okay, I've got my brewery. I've told you pretty much everything I need to know about that. The only thing I've left to say about this is picking out your cars. Get some stuff that you're going to use. Maybe a couple of trucks bringing in stuff. This guy, I don't know what he's here for. He's got a tilt bed. He's just here. He's just kind of chilling out. One thing I like to do, like you see here, is I like to pick out a car that would be mine. And the reason I've got a little Volkswagen Cabriolet here is because I actually owned one for about a day. I think I actually had the car, not even in my name, but in my own yard for less than 24 hours. I seriously got it home one night, fixed it, drove it, it caught on fire, got it home, and sold it the next morning. And I turned a nice little profit on it. I like to put this where I'm going to be operating. So if I got a bunch of friends here, everyone kind of picks out their favorite vehicle on the layout. They put it where they're going to be operating. It's a neat little aspect. So if I'm working over here at the brewery, I'll park it, somewhere. Another thing is you're going to need stuff around to do the work. So I found these little pallets at a hobby shop up in Three Lakes called the Choo Choo Store. And they're available just about anywhere. I found more of them in bigger packages, different varieties and whatnot. And I got this little forklift with two of these little boxes, crates on pallets. And this was $12.50 at my hobby shop on sale. You can buy this. This is a Weeking product, or Wicking, or whatever you want to call it. And it's a really nice little forklift, well detailed with the person on it and everything. I put the pallet there, and these two pallets with crates came with it. And I've got him. I'll put him in different spots, moving around. I've got a Cargill truck who would be putting in, whatever, or picking up stuff. And this is just a general transloading area for freight. So I'll have other boxcars coming here loading and unloading stuff. And that way I get a little bit more color than just beer-related stuff, than just hoppers and boxcars. I can bring a tank car in here and it can be transloaded to a tanker. Anything really. So this is a general freight house that'll handle just about anything. Now when you do yours, typically the more you get, the more colorful your operations are. If you have, say you've got a freight depot over here, you can have a small lumber yard here and have a flat car or a bulkhead or a center beam in here or a boxcar, and you can be loading and unloading lumber materials, and over here you're working regular box freight and transloading. You can do whatever you like. A couple of my favorite industries are the grain industry, manufacturing, and lately, since I bought the 18-pack of the BLMA Trinity Cool Reefers, food industry, just food distribution and such. So I'll have an industry later on for those. So say you've got everything picked out, you've got your track laid, got your industries down. Yeah, plan out where your roads, your parking lots, your grass, your loading facility is going to be. If you have foam for your layout and you've got, say, 1-inch or 2-inch foam, something really neat that you can do that adds a little bit more a lot more realism without a lot of work is if you add a ramp. Now, when I say a ramp, I don't mean going up, I mean going down. If you look at a lot of grocery stores, or some of the smaller ones anyways, the ramp actually goes down because they don't build the building up to service the truck. And because of that height difference, they want to have it so the truck can be level, back in and roll stuff right out. Otherwise, you're using a forklift and chain to pull the pallets out, get the pallet to the end of the truck, pull it out, get it down, whatever. But you can do that. There's all kinds of little things that you can do to add realism. Add pallets, cars, people, packages, trucks, different freight equipment. You can add a bunch of different things to make it more realistic. And parking lots, I think, is a big one. Get a little yellow pinstriping or yellow decals, or just a little bit of yellow paint in a card with a nice little slit in it, and just make your little lines. It adds a lot of realism for a layout if you have painted lines in your layout. You don't need to do it, but it helps it a little bit more. I think I'm going to have asphalt around here. I'll have painted lines later on. When I do this industry again on my future layout, this is all short term. Everything you see here is very short term. This bench work, not going to be around forever. Keto unit tracks, mostly just a stand-in. So yeah, there's that. Next thing I want to talk to you about is your next industry. So over here, I've got a lumber yard I've basically put in. Okay, I've already had the structures. I put those in. I'll need to add a switch and a place to unload the lumber at. And before I go any further, a lot of the stuff I either already own or I bought very cheap. These buildings I bought for $5 or $7 a piece at a train show or at a swap meet from one individual. In the track, this would cost you, just the track in this section would set you back about $70. Because you need to buy the switch, which lists for about $60. I got it at $42 at my hobby shop. You're going to need another curve and a couple of straights. So if you buy a package of curves, that gives you 4. And if you buy a thing of straights, I think you can buy them in either packages of 2 or 4. And that's about $16 at a 30% discount for a package of 4 straights and 4 curves. And that'll give you plenty for your next industries too. So with that, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's getting this far. The same can be said for the shelf layout. It's just putting in a switch. Shelf layout a little bit easier because you're not usually worried about a full loop. And if you are, you usually have more length to go around, so you can play with the track lengths a little bit more. When you're building your layout, you don't want to fasten everything down too much. With Cato Unitrack, there's actually little areas on the bottom of the track. If you flip it over, I don't think I have a piece around to show you, but there's actually holes in the bottom where you can either poke through or drill through a little bit, and you can use screws to hold it down in place. Well, that's nice because screws are easy to take back out. I just have mine kind of free floating on the layout so I can move it as needed, and because it's not permanent. But if you're doing yours more of a permanent fixture, you're going to want to either screw it down or tack it down. And that I'm not going to cover because there's all kinds of great videos on laying track. And a great way to keep this on a budget is to do like the Pico or Atlas track. I prefer Pico switches. They're better quality. They work better. They look nicer. They have brown tires already. I think the rail's a little bit of a better color than Atlas. And again, it just could be the contrast of black versus brown tires on the rail. And the streamlined switches are really nice. They're very smooth. I can run my Broadway Limited 210-4 over number 6 switches at speed, and that's awesome. So that's really about it for this episode. Just remember, when you're shopping, just don't spend more than you have to. Haggle a little bit, especially at the shows and at the swap meets. If you walk up, like the guy was asking, I think 10 a piece for these buildings. I said, I think all I had was $14 left, or $10 or $14 left. I honestly don't remember. And I said, hey, this is all I got left. Can you do this? And he said, sure. Nice enough guy. He was getting out of the hobby. So it was really nice. I was just able to get a really nice bargain, and he was able to put him to a good home. I told him what I was going to do with him. I got a layout I'm building up. I need some buildings. And another thing is, make sure it's your era or older. You don't want to have a 1960s era layout and have a brand new office building. It looks a little funny. But again, you can do whatever you want. So that's it for this one. Until next time. Actually, I have to cover DCC real quick. Don't just bear with me. If you want to go to a DCC system and you just have a small layout, the Zephyr will do just fine. I'll show you that in just a second. But if you want to expand a little bit, like I have here, obviously I've got another half of the layout that you can't see in the frame. But you can expand with these buddy throttles. They're a great way to grow without a lot of expense. If you want to have an even bigger layout, I'll get into that too. In fact, I did in the first video, I showed you the app. I'm just going to cover this real quick. With the buddy throttle, you just have it in a little panel here on the side. It's a UP5 panel. I think I showed you guys this in the first video for the budget railroad. I know I covered DC versus DCC. And actually for now, I'll keep you just referring to that for the DCC portion. I'll have in another one of my layout updates, I'll compare more about the DCC systems. It's been a big topic recently on the Facebook Model Railroading page. And that's another great place for resources. You can ask anything, get a variety of opinions. And remember that they're not salespeople as much as some of them, including myself, would like to be. I wish I could sell this stuff and make commission because I swear I'd be rich. I prefer Digitrax, great customer support, great products. But you should go with whatever you're comfortable with. If you like MRC or NCE better because it fits your needs, go for it. Do what you prefer. Don't do what anyone else wants because it's cool or it's what everyone else has. A lot of people around here have NCE, and I'm kind of a little bit of an outcast for this. But hey, I like it, I prefer it, that's what I'm going to do. But with this, you just turn the little dials to change the number. You select dispatch, pull down the dispatch, pull it out, put it back in like that, and then just select it again to get the number. These little cup holders, Menards, about $1. They're old school. You cut off the tops that would normally hang over your door or your couple or wherever in your car, and it works great for holding throttles. You can put other stuff in there. For these uncoupling or for the uncoupling, I just use these little kebab sticks a friend of mine gave me. They work great. Another thing you can do is the little plastic wire clips that you can put on your layout for holding up the wires. I had them in another video and some pictures on my Facebook page and on Model Railroading. There's just little plastic clips that span apart. They're in a shape like this, and you just put a screw through them to hold them up. They're plastic, and if you just screw in the one side, the flat side, these will clip in and out. In fact, I'll show you here real quick. See here? Pull it out, put it on there, push it in. Simple as that. All you gotta do to get it out, just pull it out. Just be careful not to knock everything else out. I thought this was just a quick, cheap, neat little idea, and it works for me. But I'll show you the next industry here quick. And this will be it for now. The next video I'll go a little bit more in depth, and maybe we'll get to here. This is more or less just for kind of showing you what it's like. The next video will be about doing interchanges and getting to this guy over here. But for this guy, it's simple to plan out your next industry. If you have the buildings, don't have the track, that's fine. Take your time, no rush. But just kind of figure out where your building is going to be. Maybe grab some detail parts. These are actually those moisture things that come in prescriptions. So you can see on the bottom here, it's just painted orange to look like a gigantic barrel. Looks kind of neat. Fits in well as a giant storage container or something. Maybe one of those huge plastic oil drums. And got a little garbage container delivery here. And then over here, the switch would come in from the corner, down here a ways, and then curve over. And then you could always put in another switch coming back here with another industry. And I mean, there's just so much you can do. It's really left up to you. This is at the end of my short line, and obviously I've got my other industry over here. So with that, I'll leave you be. Merry Christmas, and don't forget to check out my other videos. Take care, everybody.